Aloha, guys, and welcome to Lucy's Paradise Podcast. Today we have Nikki Nason, who is a videographer and cinematographer. And first off, tell me a little bit about you and how we know each other.
Lucy, thanks so much for having me on the podcast. Super stoked to be here. So basically, my friend Kaya is a big wave surfer, and she does a bunch of cool things with media as well. Yeah. And she referred me to the podcast, was like, hey, this would be really cool. For the past, I think, 2 years, I've had the Nikki Nason Surfer podcast, and it's been something that I've been delving more into. I did a bit of travel for the past couple months. I haven't really been on a podcast in a while. And I thought it'd be really cool to do a sit-down podcast where someone's interviewing me for a change, because I'm usually interviewing other people. So I thought it'd be really interesting. I can put myself on the spot.
Yeah, for sure. And I'd love to come on yours. That'd be awesome. I don't know what you'd ask me, but I'm not that interesting. But yeah, tell me about your YouTube channel a little bit and how you got started with that.
Yeah, so I think the thing is you naturally want to create if you're in the photo and video space, and you want places that you can put it. And one place that can provide really high visibility and good response on your videos is some sort of social media, whether it be Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. Any of those spaces, if you want to get something out there and get instant reactions, even if it's only a couple views, just to put your work out there and create it so someone's actually seeing it and you can reflect on it. It's not so much about getting a billion people to see it. It's more so that you can put your work out there and know that if it hits that that one person who needs to see it, you can make an impact in their life.
Right. So what was the first thing you ever posted? A little bit off the...
Yeah. Well, I think if I remember correctly, the first thing I ever posted was I bought a 1973 Volkswagen Transporter, so a Volkswagen bus, off of Craigslist.
That sounds awesome.
And
did you live in it?
I did for a while.
I'm guessing the story. Again,
but after I renovated it.
Yeah.
So
cool.
I had no idea about vehicles. The only thing I knew was how to turn on an engine, how to drive. You pass your license and you're good. But I just had this dream, and a friend of mine owned a VW bus. And I was like, wait, you're about my age. You own a VW bus. How are you doing this? She's like, oh yeah, I just get this manual and I YouTube it, and there's all these forums online where you can learn from. And so I was like, well, I'm going to keep my eye out. So I put out Craigslist alerts so I could be on it and the first to respond. Because these things go fast, especially if they're a good deal.
Right, they've gotten popular, I've noticed too, right?
Yeah.
Or just the idea, the concept of the camper bus thing, I noticed has gotten popular.
Yeah, it definitely has. And so during that time, I basically scouted out Craigslist, and I found this guy who was getting rid of one that he apparently drag raced around Charlotte, North Carolina.
Whoa.
And what happened was that I was working in the time and couldn't go that day, but my dad happened to be on a business trip in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I was like, hey, could you do me a favor? Could you pop over to this place that's maybe 20 to 30 minute drive away and see if you can reserve this bus for me so I can maybe get a U-Haul over the weekend and bring it down?
Yeah.
And so that's exactly what I did.
That's crazy.
The engine was pretty much shot. It ran, but it definitely needed a lot of work because they ran it so hard, and they also took it around a farm. So the shocks on it were really bad too. You just think of bouncing roads.
Yeah, they're just driving the crap out of it.
They're just driving it no concern in the world, just it's going to keep going. Damn. And so I got myself into this mud pit of a project that I had no idea what I was getting myself into.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, I spent the next 2.5 or 3 years restoring it.
Wow.
And finally got it to a place where I was happy with it. And I had so much help along the way. I had so many people in the community that were either at-home mechanics or people who also owned VW buses, which they welcome you in and are like, okay, you're going to learn
you're in
how
the club.
we learn.
Yeah, you're in the club.
And
that's crazy.
They have all these get-togethers and everything. So I learned so much. They have swap meets, you're swapping parts. You have all these forums. And so cool. I learned so much during that time.
YouTube University also works.
Yes. So then I was researching all this stuff. And then at the time, I had seen these videos of people doing van tours. I was like, oh, I want to show people part of my restoration process of getting this van together. So I started posting it, and then people started watching it. I was like, wait, I started this YouTube channel with 0 followers, 0 subscribers, and I just started posting about this bus. And it turned out that there are enough people also passionate about these buses that they go in and they watch it and they give me advice on it. and they comment and they give me suggestions. And it was really cool to have that community and interact in that way.
Right.
And then after that, I was like, wait, I should just continue to make more videos. So around that time, I was almost finished with the restoration. It's never perfect. It's always a work in progress with the VW bus. You're constantly working on it. But at that point, I had replaced the engine. I had done like so much work on it. I had taken it down to bare metal and then put another base coat and then got it painted, like the whole thing. So it's so much better than what it was.
Yeah.
And it was finally to a point where I was confident that I could drive it cross country.
Whoa.
Which is a big thing. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to full send it. So I decided to take this thing on a road trip. But my timing maybe wasn't the best. I had just so I finished the restoration. I went to South Africa for a year. And then I decided to come back. I tuned it up.
A wild life.
And then after I tuned up the bus, I was like, okay, let's pack everything in. Took probably 3 to 5 days to pack everything in because everything has to have its place. And then you're like, wait, I might need this. I might not need it. You realize how much stuff can fit into a bus and pack into it.
That's
crazy.
Like,
I'm not going to use half of it. So then you like reevaluate.
You never know though. It's better to have it than to. It's better to like need it and have it than to need it and not have it.
Yeah. So
you got to be prepared.
I was definitely over prepared in that sense.
So where did you go on this journey?
So I grew up in North Carolina, small beach town, Wilmington, Wrightsville Beach, that sort of area. And I took it from there on up through the southern states. So went Georgia, South Carolina, Florida, and then made my way across the country. So I went all the way kind of the lower states, all the way across like through Texas, New Mexico, Arizona. And my goal was to get to California. And I had already between getting back from South Africa and then going on this bus trip, I had gone for 2.5 weeks to the North Shore of Oahu for the first time.
Dang.
And I had a mentor of mine who, after I got back from South Africa, I had met up with him, was doing this short series, and I was putting him in a video and interviewing him for it. And he was like, wait, so what are you up to after this? He's like, you should really make it out to the islands. You should go out to Hawaii. And I was kind of like, okay, but I'm planning to for the fall. He's like, no, you should go now. So then I went. I was working at like this little smoothie cafe because I had just gotten back from South Africa. I had spent like so much money traveling an entire year there.
That's crazy.
And then I...
Yeah, like your accent, like I can't, like it's hard to, you know what I mean? Like you're like a mix of all the places you've been.
Yeah, so I was sitting in this smoothie place making smoothies for people, and this one lady's like, you have such a weird accent. Where are you from? I'm like, I'm from here. So then I saved up enough with that to buy my flight ticket to come out for the 2.5 weeks. And then I literally went around to all my local surf shops because I spent like 5 years growing up competing in surfing. I like knew so many people in my community, and we kind of have ties all over the world for surfing, which is really cool and really fortunate.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting in touch with a friend who put me in touch with another friend who got me on a boat at Jaws to shoot, which was amazing.
Oh, shit. That's crazy.
And the timing lined up to where Jaws was going off. And then I ended up getting in touch with another friend who was like, hey, let's surf out there. And then in college, I had taken some entrepreneurship classes. It was kind of a minor that I did. Mm-hmm. And I had some friends from that who let me stay on their couch in Honolulu the first couple nights while I was figuring myself out.
So you're like a free spirit.
I guess
I'm finding.
Yeah.
You know?
I would say that. I definitely go with the flow. And
That's
I think a big part of it is I realize like your 20s are a good time to go and do all the things that later in life you have all these obligations, you have a mortgage, you have like your set jobs that you have to do in certain places and to physically be there, versus when you're young, it's the ample time to go ahead and take those risks and really full send it on all those dreams and passion projects and things you want to do, because it becomes so much more tough to do when you have a bunch of obligations and you're tied to a certain place. So even though I love Hawaii and I call it home, I've definitely...
I think traveling's important.
Yeah, I've amplified the travel.
At least getting out of... I believe it's wise to at least get out of where you were raised as well. A lot of people, you know, here on island, you know, friends and stuff of mine, like, have never left. And I'm like, dude. And it just kind of became like I've grown in such a different way that like we almost don't have anything in common because they've never traveled anywhere, and I haven't gone to like any I've been like around the Mediterranean and stuff. I haven't gone to too many places, but the traveling I did do like really opens your eyes up, and not just to different cultures and stuff, but just there's so much more out there. Like, don't you want to see more? Or like see all the stuff or understand like different cultures and like what's going on in other parts of the world. I don't know. I think it's not really good to be in your own bubble too much, like a little bit of exploring. But it sounds like you've had so many adventures. Like,
I really have.
Yeah. Like you have like,
jam-packed. I've lived like so many different adventures, which I'm super grateful for all of it.
Yeah.
But that being said, I got back from 2.5 weeks on the North Shore. I knew I'd be back, but I wasn't sure in what capacity. And I lined up some surf media work from that trip actually in California.
Oh, wow.
So I was taking the bus across to go to California and do some surf media work out there.
That's so cool.
And I was so excited. I was like, I have a month and a half to get there. So that's what I was doing the van trip for. I was like, I'm going to make a trip out of it, stop at some national parks, then go surf the California coast.
Where is your bug now? Like, because you're in Hawaii now, so
I've had it in storage.
It's okay, so it's not. Yeah.
It's so bad.
Dang, yeah. It's okay, but at least it's like it's in
at
a good
least
spot,
it's safe
and that's cool because then you can just like we were like, let's do a road trip.
Because I debated if I ship it out here, but the thing is, you pay to ship it out here and you can't take it on actual road trips. Because I just only go around the island so many times in the salt water and the salty air.
Yeah, and then you get into that, what ends up happening is people end up never taking it back, right? So exactly. I feel like you did the right thing because then there's so many different things here you can grab, So yeah, I think you made the right choice. Keep it safe, and then it's like your little, it's almost like parking your sailboat or something, But
yeah,
it's like
just in storage for a while.
That's so awesome, dude. To go travel like that.
But
give me ideas.
Made it to Arizona, New Mexico area. Happened to be spring of 2020. We all know kind of the fiasco that went down in 2020. All this craziness. No one knew it was happening. We thought the whole pandemic would be like 2 weeks. And so I pull up to this basically gas station and convenience store in New Mexico or Arizona. I don't remember which one, honestly. And these two ladies who are older, they are wearing hazmat suits, pumping their gas. And I am pulling up in this metal VW bus.
Free-spirited.
I don't even
raw
have
dog in the air.
I don't even have like hand sanitizer on me. And these ladies are full on in hazmat suits. And this is beginning of 2020. And then I start looking this stuff up. I'm like, what is going on? I'd heard of COVID, but I didn't know it was actually going to be such a thing.
Normal people thought that would protect them.
I guess so. Yeah, everyone was just freaking out at the time.
Oh, I love that.
And it just wasn't the right time or place to be hanging out in the van and to be traveling the country because literally everything was closing. So when you're traveling in a van, you get your gym membership so you can use the showers and work out. You go and you travel to different national parks. You get your national park pass. And you have different stop-offs that you would do along the way, like campgrounds. Now, all three of these things were closing due to the pandemic. Shit. What I used to kind of volley between those three as I was traveling,
what am I going to do?
I couldn't do anymore.
Right.
And I had a friend in La Jolla that I called up for advice because she was in California at the time. I'm like, how is it there? Would I be okay going there?
Yeah.
And that's
kind of scary.
Yeah.
I'd be kind of scared.
This is a time where she could barely leave her house to go to the grocery store. So I was like, oh, this isn't the right time. And then I talked to several other friends and family and made the decision to drive the bus back across the country. And at that same time, I had gotten word that the media work that I had lined up in surfing had gotten, basically, they sent me an email rescinding the offer because they're like, hey, we actually don't know what's going on in the world right now. We can't commit to someone doing our surf media. So, thank you, but no thank you.
Right.
And so then I drove all the way back across the country, really focused on creative projects in and around the water, regrouped as everyone was doing.
Right.
And decided I was going to double down more on commercial work and doing stuff that I really enjoyed as passion projects while I had the time.
Right. That's scary to be in the middle of a road trip and then you're like, wait, hold on. And then you're like, what do I do? At least you could call people and be like, hey, what's going on? So it's funny because that was going on. I was here in Hawaii, and there were definitely underground places that were like, and like, I mean, we were like vaping in there. Like, they didn't give a shit, and we were not 6 feet apart from each other. Like, there were some, you know, obviously I'm not gonna name those places because I want them to stay open. But yeah, it was. There was definitely I don't know, it was weird. Like, Hawaii was shut down, but there were some places that were like super chill, and like you're like, you know, I don't think they take it that seriously. But yeah, that's scary to be on a road trip and being in the middle of that. So tell me more about like your commercial stuff, like that you've been involved in.
Yeah, so
that kind of stuff.
It's been interesting. So I used to compete in surfing. I think I mentioned that earlier. And I did so for about 5 years.
How old are you when you started that?
I started later.
Oh,
so
okay.
I had some friends that were in the water surfing with me. And they basically told me, hey, there's a contest coming up. You should sign up. I'm like, nah, no way. Like, why would I sign up for a surf comp? And they basically convinced me to do it. This is like maybe end of high school years type thing.
Oh, okay.
Like later, maybe 16, 17. And I signed up for my first
They're like, here,
contest.
put this rash guard on. You're like, why is it red and has my last name on
it? It was more
like tricked you?
Like you could check that you were a novice when you were signing up for the contest. So that's what I did. I'm like, there's no way. And then I made it through 5 rounds to finals in my first contest. And I was like, wait, maybe I should keep doing this.
Wow.
And then,
that's great.
Like, I don't know, like I enjoyed surfing, but I never really thought of myself as a big contest surfer or anything. And I thought it was good for my local area, but I didn't think that was like my end all be all goal in life. My goal in life was never to be a pro surfer. I just really enjoyed like the contest scene and hang out with people and like the camaraderie around the sport.
Yeah.
And I
love like all the surfer in the surfer world. Like I've partied at the Volcom House, and like I love all those people. I've never been into like super hardcore into surfing. Like I told you, I do surf, but I was actually a sponger growing up. So I was like super into bodyboarding and stuff, and I did like one competition back in the day, but I just like to do it for fun, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but all those people are like so fun, and then I went to the what is it? The North Shore Film Festival like 2 years ago.
Yes, I love that. That was so cool.
That was amazing. Hopefully they do it again.
It was so nice how they brought everyone together.
Yeah.
I don't know, because it like came together in like a month's time, all of that.
Oh, did it?
And there were literally like hundreds of people that came out for it.
It was insane. Yeah, it was like an insane event. I was like, oh my God, I'm never missing this event ever. I don't know if they do it like yearly or every few years or what, but they did it like 2 years ago, and I went, and then it was a really, really cool time. They like, I guess they like show all these videos. My friend was actually in one of the short films like randomly that they watched. I was like, what the heck? Like, I was like, when did you do this? But it was really cool. Have you been like involved in that at all? Like doing a film festival? Is that like a goal?
So that was kind of the next thing is that, so I did the surf comps, and then with surf comps, you're hanging around the surf comp all day. Parking is something that like once you get it, you've got to stay all day. Heat schedules change. You got to make sure you make your heat.
Right.
And then the next thing was you're hanging out with people.
When you're there, you're there. Yeah, you're there.
So I started doing beach marshalling, commentating, setup and takedown of contests, taking on judging even. I took like a judging course, started doing that.
That's
and you
freaking cool.
obviously judge for divisions that you're not in or associated with,
right, of course,
to make it fair.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait, there's so many up and coming talent in the surf world here where I was with Eastern Surfing Association. And I was like, wait, I should be recording these moments for people, because then they could get sponsors, they could get to the next level, because that's literally the one thing that's stopping them. A lot of these kids were so talented, and they could land
There's
that
no proof
air.
of it.
They could get the barrel, but no one saw it. Like the locals knew, but like there was no proof of it.
Yeah.
And so until you have proof, a brand isn't going to want to sponsor the kid. And also with social media nowadays, they need the content to be able to even get the sponsorship in the first place.
Yeah. Do you know about the URIP app?
Mm-mm.
So my friend he owns a URIP app, and people are on there, and it's designed for sports. So like if you rip on waves or you rip on skateboard, whatever, right? I think people have like also used it to like rip their bongs, which don't ask me why, but whatever people watch on social media, right? And so that app, you basically like make a profile, and like if you're a surfer, you can upload all your videos. But yeah, it's you should check it out. I don't know, I think it came out like 4 years ago maybe, but he sponsors some surfers like on the North Shore.
Yeah.
But that's a good way too for like kids to go on there and get a following, you know?
Mm-hmm. So the goal was initially to help other surfers in my community and then to film my friends. And then that turned into me eventually turning around and making a full-length documentary over 10 months.
Oh, wow.
Where I followed around 30 surfers in the local southeastern North Carolina surf community. And
Oh, wow.
then I put that into the local Carolina Surf Film Festival, which happens in North and South Carolina. And then I put that also into a bunch of random surf showings. So I had like a premiere in Wilmington, North Carolina. I had some premieres in California.
What is it called? The documentary?
Deeper, Southeastern Surf Documentary.
Dude, that's bad. And so you directed it?
I did the whole thing.
Like, did the whole thing. Wow, that's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
edited and all that. That's freaking incredible.
I did drone, water, land, all the editing, literally learning everything as I went.
That's crazy.
And it was crazy because I edited like half of it in iMovie and then my computer crashed. It was like crazy, but everything ended up working out and coming together. But it was definitely like a trial by error thing.
I feel like everything just ends up working out. Like, I would want to be lost on an island with you because I feel like it would all, you know, like, I'd be stressing and you'd be like, it's fine. And then we would just get saved or something. I'm like, I don't know what happened, but I followed you.
I think that's the thing. You just have to have such positive optimism in what you're doing that you're going to find a way to make it work.
Right.
And so that's exactly what I've done in the commercial photography and cinematography is I realized like I have too many friends that have gotten like 12 stitches to the head or landed on gnarly reef in like a slabby wave. And yeah, they got the shot. But at the end of the day, the money that they got for making the cover of that magazine or for the licensing they got off of this one brand, it didn't cover those medical expenses. Or they were always struggling financially. They were working other jobs on the side during the summer so that they could work North Shore winter and do the media. And so when I shifted, I was able to work on a variety of different film sets. I think the key to it is like working with people that are also excited in what they're doing and passionate about what they do.
Yeah.
And when you have a good crew of people, the time passes by better and you're able to work with such
it's fun.
a fun crew.
You don't, it doesn't feel like work.
It doesn't feel as daunting when it's 12-hour days. You feel more refreshed and energized even when you're having to be on set at 5 a.m.
Right. Yeah.
And so after I created the film, created a series of short films, and that was more to like refine my filmmaking because if I created 5 to 10 minute films, and I recommend this for anyone who's like looking to get into filmmaking, is you can create your feature film.
I'm looking into getting into filmmaking.
Okay, so hypothetically,
I just have ideas. Like I have like script ideas and stuff that I've written, and like I have like movie ideas. Like I have so many ideas, you know.
So you come up with the idea that kind of resonates with you most or you feel like you can most actually execute on and then break it down into like smaller projects and smaller pieces that you can run with.
That makes sense.
Then once you've actually created this big undertaking of an actual full-length film, you've done it. You've created your feature film.
Right.
Now the next step from there, I would say, is to create short form videos. The reason I say that is because you can be more experimental in your filmmaking.
Yeah.
You can create things that you otherwise wouldn't put into your long film because you're afraid it might not do well or might not receive a positive response.
Okay, interesting.
And so you can try out different filmmaking techniques on a smaller scale so you can fail more often and fail smaller. You don't want to have bigger failures when you can make small failures and adjust from there. Because it's so much faster to fail on a smaller level and then pick yourself up and be like, okay, that flopped, but let me try something else.
So like,
or I didn't like this.
So like, for example, like if I had like a movie idea, I can take that one scene and see if that one scene would make sense, kind of, I guess, right? Okay, yeah. Huh, interesting. I'm like thinking of like the movie idea in my head, like. That's so fun. Like, do you just like think of like ideas for that kind of stuff? Like what got you like to do the documentary? Like you just were inspired like meeting the surfers or?
Yeah, I just knew so many people in my surf community and it was a good way to kind of tell about the community itself from all different levels. So I had like the up and coming surfers, I had the surfers who were core in the contest, I had the surfers who everybody knew in the lineup, and then I had kind of the uncles and aunties who were kind of older and like had that wisdom of been there for a really long time. And there was actually one of the surfers, Tico, who had like stage 4 liver cancer, and he got to tell his story and how surfing was like healing for him during that time. So really powerful to like, you never know what sort of stories you're going to uncover when you're doing a documentary. I think it's different when you're doing a script for sure, because everything's like planned out and
Right.
more like you
Right.
have an idea of the storylines. But when you're doing a documentary and you just kind of leave it open to what someone needs to say, and then you're able to tell that story, it's really powerful.
Yeah,
Especially
more
when you
organic.
get to watch people watching your film. And that is one of the most fun moments, because you get to see people reacting in real time to something
That would
you
make
put
me
so
nervous.
much energy into.
I don't even like listening. Like, I don't even like when someone's like, "Oh yeah, play your music." I don't even like to be in the room when they're listening to it. Like, it makes me like super anxious.
Yeah, it's kind of
I
weird
don't know why.
if you hear a voiceover. Like, if you're recording a voiceover, you put it to a video, and then you see it playing on a big screen, and you're like, "Oh, that's my voice." Like,
Yeah, like my mom. I went to my mom's house and she was watching my podcast, and I was like, "Mom, please pause it. I can't." Like, I was like, wait till I leave. It was weird. I don't know. I can't like watch it. So I don't know. I don't know how that would be. But tell me about about Fragile. What is that?
yes.
Because
So,
you mentioned that. I don't know what that is.
I worked on a variety of different film sets. And during that time, you're working 12-hour days. You're constantly running around, and you're constantly doing a bunch of different tasks. You have a walkie-talkie on you. You've got your ear in.
Wait, what do they call those?
Walkie-talkie?
No. Like, I can't remember. I've been on like sets and stuff too, because and I forget what they call that position that they're in. But there's like 4 people that do that sometimes.
Okay, so you've got your producers, you've got your DP, you've got your assistants for photographer, videographer, all that sort of stuff. You've got a grip person sometimes, you've got a sound person sometimes.
Yeah.
You have basically a variety of different people on set. And the easiest way to get in on set, if you're someone who's just getting started and you want to start working on sets, or you're in film school or something, is production assistant. So PA.
Yeah, that's
not
what it is.
physician's
That's
assistant.
what it is. I was like,
But
what is that?
PA.
PA. Yeah, the PAs are like my favorite people, dude. They're the best.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the thing that I think is so cool is that the PAs are basically doing a little bit of everything on set.
Yep.
And PAs are basically the backbone that keeps the whole set together by doing all these things that may not seem like the biggest task, but they're actually so pivotal to the success of the entire team. So, like, one of the things is, like, the person who goes and gets crafty. Like, if I'm on crafty duty, I'm stoked, because then I make sure that everything is, like, meeting people's dietary needs, is nourishing, because if you give someone, like, Cheetos after their full day on set, maybe that's not as good as like something with veggies or something that's going to have like protein in it, so that they can keep going and have the energy. So
You don't like Cheetos?
I mean, I have nothing against Cheetos. I'm just like, it's like the concept of like, yeah, you can have your Cheetos,
Are you healthy?
but
You eat healthy.
also you can have your health food that like you're gonna feel a difference in the way that you feel on
so
set.
you're a healthy eater.
I am a
I could
healthy
tell.
eater.
Yeah, I could tell by that comment about
Yeah.
Cheetos. I was like,
I'm
why
like,
she
I
hating
have
on
nothing
Cheetos?
against Cheetos, but I just like having a variety of stuff for both and prioritizing healthy stuff, because
Yeah,
I find
absolutely.
when
I'm a health nut, so I understand.
so when you feed people healthy stuff on set, I notice that they have so much more energy. They don't go through those sugar crashes in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And like everyone's just nicer.
I just need
Everyone's
caffeine
nicer
on
when
set.
they eat good on
Yeah,
set.
as long as I have caffeine on set, 15-hour set days, I'm good. I'll show up at 5 a.m. I'll be in every scene. But the PAs are the best. They tell me where to walk.
Yes.
I'm like, where do I walk?
So I spent a decent amount of time as a PA on set.
That's awesome.
I've worn a bunch of different hats on set. I've done everything from produce to PA.
Dude, you're
to
incredible.
Cinema, like
This is crazy.
the whole thing. And I love each of the different roles for what they bring and the value that they provide. I'd say one of the things that I found was that I was walking around on set and I would constantly be like, okay, I've got to run and do this. I'd drop my walkie-talkie. Or I would have like an iPad and a clipboard that they have me awkwardly carry around all day. Or they have me carry around a big backpack with just the clipboard and the walkie-talkie and stuff in it.
Okay.
And I'm like, this does not make sense. Like, there's got to be a way to do it better.
Yeah.
And so I was carrying around this little belt bag, and I had like a portable charger in it. I had my phone in it. I had like the walkie-talkie clip to it, but it just didn't stay on quite right. And so I kind of makeshift with different bags, and I tried to find something that would work. And then I was like, wait, like this just isn't working. Let me see if I can figure something else out. There's got to be a better way to streamline what we're doing on production sets for the producers, for the PAs, for the DPs, for like everyone in their different roles on set, because we're all carrying like the most makeshift bags and ways that we're going about it. And so basically what I did from there was I drafted up a concept of designs for both people who are creatives who travel and that work on different production sets for all the different needs that you encounter on set. and have it very multi-purpose, very durable, very high quality materials, but also held to a good standard in manufacturing.
So it's a bag?
Yes.
Oh my God.
So I can actually show you here today.
Yeah.
But basically the first bag that I have in production is the 6-liter production bag, which is basically what I've been using nonstop since December, basically. And so
for like a PA, like if you were on set doing that type of work.
So if you're a PA or a producer or someone who's a DP, basically this is the bag for you. This is like the bag that can hold multifunction of like your batteries or your drone or a full camera body, but also having it be something that you can wear all day comfortably.
That's awesome.
As well
Brand's
as like
gonna have to
attach
gonna
gonna
have to get me to buy one.
You can attach your swimsuit or your towel to it if you're doing a beach shoot while it's wet and have it outside of it. I think the easiest way is to kind of show you.
Yeah.
I have it like right back there on that back table.
Yeah.
But essentially I wanted it to also be a carry-on item for an airport. And so I basically made the back so you can put like your passport in it, and you can put your basic stuff that you need hidden back here. And then you can clip your walkie-talkie or your sunglasses so they don't fall out, even if you're running with it, because sometimes you have to be fast.
Right.
It's all black with the design because I've basically gone in and decided, like, if you're on set and there's like a green screen or you need to be cropped out, some productions want you to wear all black.
True,
So
yeah.
you need a bag that's also functional in that and also goes with every outfit you're wearing.
Right. If in doubt, black it out. That's my saying.
There you go.
That's my saying.
And then the different handles. So if you need to grab it real quick or slow. And then,
so you made this?
Yeah. I literally made it.
Insane.
And the clip right here, the carabiner on the outside.
She's a director by day and a designer by night. Wow.
Yeah.
So how much does this go for?
$98.
Dang, really? That's pretty cheap. Sorry, I'm like going through
Yeah, no, you're good. Go ahead, show it off, go through it. And then I kind of chose like everything strategically. Like
oh yeah, it's really durable for sure. And I kind of like the inside. Like it's still kind of pretty little design there.
It's meant for visibility. So if you're in a dark room or you're back of set, it's like that lighter, like tan, almost like yellow. So that way you can see it. Dude, I want one.
All right, Grant, we're getting these.
And then the other thing too is I worked some weddings and engagements. So a lot of people come to Hawaii and they get like engaged. And sometimes they have like bottles that need to be opened, or after a long day on set, people are like, okay, let's open some bottles. Well, I made it into a bottle opener in the front, but you can also clip stuff onto it.
Yeah, I like that idea. I see what you're saying. That's smart. And then yeah, you have the little clip too on this side.
Yeah, so carabiner on the inside and outside, so you can also like clip your keys to it. And then you can clip your keys in here as well.
That's really cool. How did you make that like happen?
So
you just,
essentially
like your idea?
I got like basically one of those Skechers notepads, not the brand Skechers, but like sketching.
Yeah.
And basically drew out all the ideas that I had. And so initially my first concept was a 45-liter bag. I went to B&H. B&H is like a huge photo video store. They have their main location in the middle of New York City.
Oh, wow.
I think it was like 2 years ago, I had an international flight and I had a 16-hour layover. And I had a bag that was falling apart and my zipper was about to bust because I had stuffed it to the brim as my carry-on bag. And it was like the maximum size I could allow, but there were some things that I wanted changed about it. There were some differences and things I wanted improved. So I was like, you know what? B&H is like the ultimate photo store. Let me go there and see what I can find. So I go all the way into the city. I get to B&H store and I bring my bag with all my gear and we try and sort out and we look at like all the different bags that they have. And we pieced all my stuff like Tetris into all the different bags that we could find. We narrowed it down to like 5 or 6 bags. And then each of them had like multiple problems with them that made it so that they wouldn't work for what I was trying to do. And in that moment, I realized and was like, wait, if I'm having trouble with this, there's got to be a better way to do it. And there's got to be a better solution.
Basically, it didn't exist yet.
Yeah. And so essentially, I tried that with the 45-liter bag. And then I basically drafted this design process out.
Yeah.
And realized that it was actually really bad for your back if you carry 45 liters. It's heavy. Camera gear is dense.
Yeah.
everything that you carry is like tenfold. And when you're traveling and when you're running through the airport, it would be like a crime for me to sell something that's 45 liters and going on your back when I know it's going to be overstuffed and over heavy. And then you're going to be like a hunchback when you're older because you carried something that was terrible for your back. Like, I realized that was not something that I wanted to do.
It wasn't as sustainable. It didn't really make sense at that point. Yeah.
And
this is smart.
And
then you don't have the urge to overfill it.
Yes. So that's the thing. I feel like as photo, video folks, we're always carrying so much gear. And whether we're rolling it, putting it on our back, strapping it over, like having something that you can run and gun with that also complements what you currently have in your kit and what you need. I basically went through and looked at all the designs of like the Alexa, the Red, the Canon, the Nikon, the Sony, all of these different cameras that they carried as like their main ranges for both cinematographers and photographers, and looked at those measurements to then go in and say, what could I fit? What's in this person's kit? What's in that person's kit? What do you carry on a daily basis? What are your use cases? And I basically broke that down and did solutions based off of that. And then I went in and decided like, okay, so here's the other problems that I'm facing in like the different size bags. And then the one that I was able to come up with first and kind of run with, the other ones I'm still working on like the prototypes of it and investing more into research and design, are the larger bags. But
so these ones are good. You're still working on that one.
Still working on the larger bags, but the 45 liter will not be like one that I would put on someone's back. It would be more like a rolling scenario.
Smart.
And then the 6 liter was something that I could run with right away and then be able to create. And then once I'm able to sell through some of these, I would be able to pour more into the research and design process because I am bootstrapping this.
Oh, okay. Where'd you get the name? Where'd that come from?
Yeah, so I was thinking basically, what do I call this brand? And what I realized is that all of our camera gear is so fragile and we really just want to protect it and we want to do a good job of doing so. And so fragile really stood out. And then I was like, what's like a shorter way of saying fragile? FRGL.
Okay, I like that.
And then I kind of ran with that.
Yeah, I really like that. That's a smart idea.
And then I was kind of looking at like what the producers are carrying, what everyone's carrying on set basically, and what their needs were.
It sounds like you did a lot of research.
I did.
Yeah.
I spent so much time like
Do you
writing
sleep?
down.
Like, it sounds like a lot of work. That's amazing.
I have like so many like little sketches of like different camera gear setups and bags. And one of the things that I wanted to make sure too was in the 6 liter bag that you could fit the 10.3 inch iPad and have it padded. That's why we have the padding in the back and we have like a layer in here. And same with like your standard size SD cards. I made sure that there were slots for that. So where can someone
go and get one of those?
So I have a website, fragilebags.com, FRGLBAGS.com. And awesome. They're supposed to arrive in September for shipping. And pre-orders are live now, which is really exciting.
That's awesome. Perfect. I love that. Yeah, that's awesome. And just black, right? Because of the whole film aspect of it, that's smart. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Dude, you do so much. What do you not do? That's going to be a shorter list. You do so much. What's next for you?
So
like what's your next thing?
Yeah, so currently I'm really focused on Fragile. I absolutely love the bag. Like I've been using it nonstop. The next thing is I really want to refine for a 20 liter and then a 26 liter. And then after that, there's something with wheels that I want to get into. That
makes sense. So basically
wheels that can go on sand and be really useful in production.
On sand.
So here in Hawaii, we do a lot of productions that involve the beach because everyone wants to film on the beach.
Yeah.
But currently our carts and different things that we're doing have not the best wheels.
Yeah.
And we end up using a lot of brute force and a lot of manpower to...
I got some ideas for you. We'll talk about offline so no one can steal them.
But basically tailoring solutions, like it's something that I'm really passionate about.
Yeah, you seem like you're really good at that.
And
you're like the Amelia Earhart of but on land without being missing, of course. But and then you just come up with all these ideas.
I think the big thing for me is like I was dealing with these problems personally, and I just realized like looking around the room when I was working different productions, I was like, wait, everyone else is having these same problems too, but we're just ignoring them because we don't know a solution. So why don't I just create the solution? Like, yeah, it's
Right.
going to be a big mission to take on. Yeah, I don't have the background for it, but I'm going to research as much as I can, and I'm going to create something quality.
Well, you're passionate about solving the problem. And so I'm in business school, actually, and that's literally what essentially what a lot of businesses, you know, they solve a problem. And then that's actually sometimes the best way to come up with a business idea for something, is that you've recognized a problem somewhere. This is interesting because it's very niche. The problem that you found is something that is a day-to-day thing that a specific group of people deal with, people in film. And there's a lot of people in film, right? Like you said, directors, producers, PAs, all these people. Even me, like as someone who's worked on, I was on like NCIS Hawaii and stuff like that. I've done like commercials in LA and like just short films and in other people's films and stuff like that too. And the one thing I always do is I always bring a bag, because they always say, like you were talking about, wear black, right? And I've already learned in my experience on set, a lot of the times they have wardrobe, but there's like accessories and stuff like that they might not have. Or so I always bring at least 10 outfits. No branded, obviously, a couple black ones, stuff like that. And it's always helped me, because I was actually able to be in more scenes because maybe they didn't have certain things, but then I had it, So I was like, hey, man, I know that this works. So they're like, why do you have a bag with you all the time? And I'm like, dude, trust me, it's better to be prepared and to have everything. And then now I can be in every single scene. And then some people, like, they don't have certain things. They want everyone to wear green, or they want everyone to wear this color or whatever, and they don't have it. And I'm like, well, can't be in the scene. And then I'm like in every single scene, So
yeah, and I can't tell you how many times like that, how having the little things can make a difference, whether it's a clip for a piece of clothing to help wardrobe, or it's like the extra SD card that you don't have to fumble around and find, where it's in its place where it needs to be.
Yeah.
Or if you need to have a bunch of batteries on you because you have your bigger camera bag, but you're going to like this little area over on the ranch and you're like shooting here, but you need like your battery's about to run out, and you're like, wait, but you can fit the multiple batteries and have exactly what you need like in that moment.
Yeah. And in filming, a lot of the times, where everybody hangs out and takes a break is not the same area where you're doing the filming.
Yes.
So because when we did NCIS Hawaii, they literally had us on a bus and like took us to a completely different area. So it's like, I have to bring all my stuff with me. Yeah. So that solves a lot of problems. This is smart, dude.
Thank you.
You're just gonna get like a couple like what's it called, like movie production places to, like, I don't know, buy a bunch of them or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or something. I don't know.
Yeah. And I think, it is niche, but in the same way that like I've looked at the business cases for like Yeti and how they started with the particular use case before they expanded out to like everyone buying their coolers. It was very niche when they started out, and then it expands out. So if you go with kind of the core people solving that problem, then other people catch on and are like, oh, this is really handy, let me use it in other cases.
Because with trends, like some people will just want it just because it's popular right now, or like, and a lot of the times people fall into trends that way, and they're like, like I'm not necessarily a producer or whatever, but they still want it because everyone they know has it, So you could fall into that too. But I'm excited to see where this goes.
Thank you.
I think that's really cool. And then for podcasting, you wanted to do some video stuff, right?
Yes. So a big thing in podcasting is that I've had a podcast for like 2 years, but it's always been audio. And so early on this year, I had multiple people request for it to be video, and then I basically took it outdoors. So we went to like random locations on the North Shore and just film it outdoors, and we'd have like random chickens walking by or making sounds in the background. But it was great. We got the point across, but there's definitely some background noise. So being in a studio setting like this is so cool to be able to see and experience as well.
Yeah, there's pros and cons, right? Because when you're in Hawaii, you get to hear the beautiful birds and like, if the chickens aren't attacking you, they could sing you sweet melodies and stuff. But then, and then like the ocean waves and like, so there's a lot of benefits that way. But then when you're in a conversation and you are at the beach and there's wind, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then that's a factor. Like can they hear this audio and all of that. So outdoor is tricky. We are actually my podcast party. We will have outdoor stuff, and it's because it's going to be a beach setting, and that's going to be fun because we have like different microphones that are actually meant for wind and stuff
with the cats on them.
Yeah. So that's gonna be exciting to test out. So and then you'll be able to, since you're coming to the podcast party, right? Thank you so much for coming. That'll be a lot of fun, and then you'll be able to like kind of see what we do with that.
Yeah.
But Grant's amazing at all that. I mean, it sounds
shout
like
out to Grant back here. We'll put his info so everyone can book him up.
Yeah. He's the background, but he is the backbone of this podcast. Since we're talking about PAs being the backbone, and like 90% of my friends in LA are PAs, and they're the best, and they're so smart, you know, too.
Honestly, a lot of the PAs can do the higher up roles. It's just that they haven't gotten the break or the opportunity yet, or they're just doing it to fill in between when they have those bigger opportunities. That
experience is like amazing.
And so some of the PAs out there are some of the most talented up and coming that I've seen, and it's really cool to hear their opinions on things and see what they're doing and all their creative projects. I love to follow along and watch.
Yeah. Do you have any favorite like directors for like movies or like documentaries or anything that you watch, or like are you into movies?
You know, it's kind of funny. I don't really watch much TV or movies.
That's so funny. You're just a creator.
I guess so, yeah.
That's okay. So when was the last movie you watched?
I don't even think I have an answer. Like maybe something on a plane.
She's been too. Oh yeah.
I know. So I flew Jetstar, and they have you pay extra for entertainment. So I just downloaded a bunch of podcasts and music and just played that. And then I was trying to get some rest and the best you can when you're sitting on an airplane and knocking out some time with some music.
Oh, okay. Well, that's okay. That's good. You're busy creating than just watching.
Yeah, but what I do find that's interesting is once you work in the film industry in any capacity, whether you're a PA, producer, director, anything, you kind of start to pick out little moments and you're like, oh, I know what tool they used for this. Or I know what they were trying to do in this scene. Oh, let me copy this lighting. Not copy, but like be inspired by this lighting that they were using in this video or that. Yeah. It's really interesting how instead of just watching the movie for
you see it differently.
You see it differently.
It sounds like,
and you pick out the little pieces of it.
That's incredible. And then are you planning on doing any or like entering or working on something to do like the film festival here? Because you know about the Hawaii Film Festival, right?
So I know that there's actually a surf film festival happening now.
Oh, is there?
Now through sometime in the start of August, which is really exciting. Oh, I might go and see something there, or at least show up for a bit.
Yeah.
I basically, when I went through the film festival circuit, it was such a really cool experience. I haven't been to many film festivals since then, just because I've really been hunkering down on like the passion projects and then things that I'm doing, and then FRGL.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool to be able to go in and support when you can. So I love that on the North Shore we have like some surf film movie nights, and we kind of have some underground or up and coming or even like established filmers showing their work, and like a couple hundred people come out to Wailua Surf Shop, and we have like showings tonight, and then they'll have like a DJ afterwards. I love like events like that where people just get to show their work, and you get to see the audience respond to it and just enjoy the artwork. So I think that's so cool.
Yeah, I haven't gone to that or one of those. I wanna go to one of them. That sounds really cool.
So another thing is with the Eddie that happened the other year, they had a bunch of different art gallery showings, and it was really cool to see how everyone has their unique perspective. And I think everyone kind of has the way that they see things, and it's a little bit different even amongst all the different photographers. You could sit at a different angle. You could sit at the same angle. You're still going to shoot different things because you see the wave and you see the surfer and the way they interact with the wave differently. And I think there are those key moments that are going to be really similar, but there's different things that you get to pick up creatively and document. That was really cool to see a bunch of the galleries, and also to talk to some of the people that swam out during the eddy, which was really cool to like see that perspective of like when you dive under and the water becomes black just because it's so heavy.
That's crazy. Yeah. So you went that when the eddy happened.
I watched it. I definitely did not swim out. I know my limits, and
but you were there.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Shoot. That's funny. I was there too. I vlogged it. Kind of like that was like my first attempt. I was like, well, I mostly because everyone was charging like $100 for parking. And I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm vlogging this. So I started off like Karening it, you know?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I'll just vlog the whole day. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was massive. Those waves were nuts. I was like, the people that do big wave surfing, dude, like I can't, I'm good. That's how I was telling you, like, I don't surf like that anymore. Like, I don't do anything.
One of the things that I think is unique and really interesting about the athletes who do big wave surfing is that you don't know when the big wave is going to come. Yeah. So you constantly have to be on top of it and constantly training, doing your breath holds, doing your breathe ups, doing like all the different strength training and paddling and preparations and running. Because just like within like 48 hours, you could have to travel all the way across the world to go surf a massive wave. And then in the midst of that, like you're still jet lagged, you're tired, all these things. And you've got to like optimize your health to a point where you can be prepared to surf that big of a wave.
Yeah, that's a good point.
In like a moment's instance.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's interesting. That's an interesting way of looking at that. Like, you got to be ready.
Yeah. So I think in the same way, like, have that energy to be ready, like do the things in your day-to-day to prepare you for what it is that you want to do, whether that's something in the film industry, whether that's something in photography, whether you're going off and training for surfing, whether on the big wave or regular size wave scale.
Yeah. So is that your advice for anyone who wants to do like filmmaking or?
Yeah,
that's like great advice in general.
I think you have to go for it because you don't want to look back when you're older, when you're like well into your life and wonder what if. You don't want to look back and wish you had the courage to go do something. Mm-hmm. It would be better to know that you gave it your all and that you tried for it, right, than to question and look back and say, hey, and I lived a cushy, comfortable life because I was too afraid to take the courage to do what I actually wanted to do in life. Yeah. When you go to like senior citizens homes and you talk to the people, they talk about what they wish they had done, not what they did more so. And the people that talk about what they did so many adventures and so many things. And the people that didn't, they tell you the number one thing is get out there and do it. Yeah. I like that. I have a saying, it's, I mean, I stole it, but bliss is on the other side of fear. And I like that one. I think that kind of encompasses a little bit of what you were saying. But yeah. And you're never going to feel like 100% prepared for what you're going to do. You just have to have the courage to like take that step forward and to do the best to prepare with like what you've got. Yeah. I really like that. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I super appreciate you coming on. I feel like I could talk to you for like 3 hours. So you'll definitely have to come on again down the road. And good luck doing a film festival here. I really hope that you do. I'd like to do one at some point, so I'll definitely let you know and keep you posted. But thank you guys so much for watching. Like, subscribe. Thank you so much, Nikki, for coming on. Thank you guys for watching Lucy's Paradise podcast.